Welcome to episode number 388 of the Genuine ScLoHo Media and Marketing Podcast. My name is Scott Howard, also known as ScLoHo. This is an ongoing collection of media, marketing, and personal insights with a fresh update nearly every week since I began this back in 2017. This is the audio recording of an article that you can read at my website, scotthoward.me, scotthoward.me. Altogether, I published over 1,600 articles, and this one is titled, Let's Talk About Values. Even though I'm recording this at the Federated Media Studios in Fort Wayne, Indiana, and I work for WOWO, that's WOWO Radio, and this is being promoted by my employer, everything that I say or write is strictly my own thoughts and not necessarily the opinions of Federated Media or any of their affiliations and or advertisers. Well, welcome to the second half of 2025. The first 6 months of the year have been pretty topsy-turvy in almost every aspect of our lives. Political and financial, to name just a couple of areas. Not just national and international news, but also locally and personally. Is artificial intelligence going to make my life better, or is it going to ruin us, is one question I hear every once in a while. What's the next big thing I need to be aware of so I don't get left behind? That's not a new question that I hear, but a persistent one that I've heard for years. How do I make my content go viral? I've heard versions of that for the past couple of decades. People are looking for shortcuts, hacks, or tricks to beat the system and be successful. I recall about 18 years ago, a friend of mine at the radio station I was at wanted my secrets of getting on the first page of Google. His purpose was to sell stuff, and he thought that if he could be found by the Google gods or algorithms, then people would send him money and, well, he never did get rich. But it wasn't because I wouldn't tell him how, it was because he didn't want to do the work to build something properly. Look, technology will continue to improve and grow. Not every online platform will be successful, just like any offline business is more likely to fail than succeed if you try and beat the system. Instead of focusing on the temporary tech, focus on the permanent values that attract people. What are those values? Well, it's not price discounts or too good to be true prices and guarantees. The Gallup organization released a new study that says for Americans, the vast majorities regard family, respect, trustworthiness, freedom, and kindness as important values. You can dig into the details by visiting my website at scotthoward.me and find this week's article that corresponds with this podcast episode titled Let's Talk About Values, and click on the link. However, the real challenge is how do you incorporate those values into your life, both professionally and personally? As a business owner, as a manager, as an employee, what are the real demonstrable ways that you live these values? Well, I'll share with you today one way that I've seen companies do this. Time off. In retail, it's expected that you're going to have to work some nights and weekends. I know a local car dealership that gives their employees holiday weekends off. That sounds crazy, especially when the holiday falls at the end of a month and they need to sell a certain number of units that month and the pressure is on. But that's what they do. And they hit those numbers without tormenting their sales team. Now, where I work, we implemented unlimited paid time off when I was in management, and it has helped us recruit and retain staff. Plus, from an employee viewpoint, if you need to take time off for a dentist appointment or to help out with your kid's summer vacation Bible school, it's not counted against you. If you're sick, we don't want you coming to the office and spreading the germs. Work from home or take the time off to heal. Back to the Gallup poll. Beauty, wealth, adventure, achievement, and innovation are among the values least likely to be chosen as important, all by fewer than 4 in U.S. 10 adults. Let me read that list again. Beauty, wealth, adventure, achievement, and innovation are among the values least likely to be chosen as important by less than 4 in 10 U.S. adults. However, more than 8 in 10 Americans agree that respect, family, trustworthiness, and freedom are important values to them, and at least 3/4 say the same about kindness, health, integrity, happiness, and knowledge. To better understand the people around you, take a look at some of the differences that are in the article too. Then I challenge you to have an open discussion with the specific people and ask them to rank the 23 values in the survey and figure out ways to implement some of them even more than you already are in your organization. No matter what else is going on in our world, these are things that you can do to improve and have a positive impact. Thanks for listening today. And by the way, if you have any questions about advertising and marketing or in nearly anything else that you don't know who to ask, you can ask me. Just drop me an email, scott@wowo.com. That's scott@wowo.com.
Podcasts by Federated Media.